chica bailaste sola. Traté de acercarme y pegarme, pero no pasó nada. Decidí regresar y venirte a buscar si te veía hoy. Solo de aquí no me voy. Prende, prende, prende el ritmo que me voy. Prende, prende, prende el ritmo que me voy. Y yo me fui a la pista, ready para la cista, que me lleva loco, dudo que me resista. Su party moviendo caderas, subiendo de abajo hacia arriba, de arriba hacia abajo. Un movimiento sensual, se toca completa, eso me desespera. Un movimiento sensual, la que yo quiero pa' mí, la que yo quiero pa' mí. Un movimiento sensual, se toca completa, eso me desespera. Un movimiento sensual, la que yo quiero pa' mí, la que yo quiero pa' mí. Prende, prende, prende el ritmo que me voy. Prende, prende, prende el ritmo que me voy. Prende, prende, prende el ritmo que me voy. Prende, prende, prende el ritmo que me voy.
Morning, guys. One of the most difficult and challenging fears to overcome or control is the fear of death. And the reason is because it's the fear of the unknown. No one knows for sure. And that is the most challenging part. It's the uncertainty. I want to share with you a few things that have helped me, and I hope they help you. And by no means have I completely controlled this fear, but these are the things that have helped me. Number one is you have to have a definite purpose. And that purpose has to fill your mind and it has to be focused on serving others. The second thing is to view death as mere transition, as change. I view myself and everyone and everything in this universe as simply energy and matter. And so it's the constant rearrangement, reconfiguration of energy and matter over the years. I don't look at myself as just human. I see myself as a form of energy and matter. And I want to be the greatest possible energy and light for the universe. Have a great day, everyone.
I love inspiration and motivation, but it is the neurological equivalent of candy. It's rad, it has its place, but everyone, because those just happen to be fleeting neurological states, you just have to find something that's way more grounded. You need a mission, you need a grand why, you need to know what it is. And this is not a discovery, it's a thing you decide. I decided. Now, because I tell it as a story, people think, oh, it was unavoidable. He meets this kid, Rashawn, and that coupled with all the people that he worked with at Quest, it's sort of inevitable that he decides that he's going to build impact theory and try to change culture to give everyone an empowering mindset. Yeah, well, literally a year before I decided to found impact theory, my mission in life was to end metabolic disease. So it's like you decide and then you point yourself at something. Nothing is ever going to feel right. Like, this is what I was put on earth to do. It won't feel that way until about a year or 2 years after you've been saying that's what you're going to do, that that's what you're committed to, and actually acting in accordance with that. And then you'll be like, yeah, this actually is my mission.
So I'm going to substitute mission for purpose. Your purpose is what you are here for. Your purpose is what do you wake up excited to do? Your purpose is what's the impact that you want to have on the world? What do you want to be known for? What do you want to create? Your purpose is the thing that keeps you going when you want to quit, when you want to give up, when you feel like it's not happening fast enough, when your goals aren't enough to keep you going. What is the thing that keeps you going? It's your purpose. To feel like what you are doing today matters, is meaningful, is going to have an impact. And people have asked me, somebody asked me yesterday, I was doing an IG Live, and somebody asked me, how do you keep going? You're one of the most consistent people I've ever seen in my life. How do you keep going? How do you keep making videos? Well, I feel like it matters. I'm living my purpose. I don't think what I'm doing is that unique, that special. I think everybody can do it. It's within reach for everybody to do it. The problem is most people are just chasing opportunity and just trying to make a quick buck. And making money is very important. It is very important. It's just not number one. Number one is your purpose.
Did you know that there are 3 crazy new brain techniques that can erase your fear of failure?
If you woke up and felt like today mattered, that it was going to mean something to somebody, you're going to show up in a totally different way. You're going to show up with more energy. It's going to be easier to say yes. I was making videos for years with getting almost no views, 0 comments. Why? Because I felt like what I was doing mattered. That if 100 people saw my video, that's 100 people that saw my video. Where if you're just chasing the end goal, if you're just chasing, oh, I need to have 1 million subscribers, or I need to have X in my bank account, you stop. You will quit because it gets too hard. Where if you actually felt like, I'm going to show up today and I'm going to do something that matters and it's going to change at least one person's life. There are some days when you feel like you can change the world, right? There are some days when you feel like I can do anything. I can change the world. I'm going to X, right? There's some days when you actually feel that and it's amazing. And there are some days where that feels too big and too scary and your purpose feels too overwhelming. And it should be aspirational. It should be beyond your reach. It should not be something that just gets solved in your lifetime. It's something that you want to swim forever, to climb forever, to keep chasing down. So there are some days where it feels too big. And on those days, don't stress about it being too big. Worry about, hey, I'm just going to help one person. For me, when I'm stressing out about making content, making videos, speaking on stage, whatever else I'm doing, some days like I'm going to change the world today. And other days is I hope I can reach a few people with the video. This is a Tuesday for me. I record videos on Tuesday. Every Tuesday I make content. It's in my calendar. And it's always the most stressful day for me in my week because I always want to make the best that I can. I want today's video to be the best that I can with what I've got, because I want to have an impact. I want hopefully this video and the way that I say it, and just hope that this is the one that finally resonates with at least one person. The hope isn't I need this video to go get 1 million views or I'm a failure. The hope is that for you, maybe you're the one today, that the way that I say it hits you in the right spot, that pushes you towards some kind of action, to take that thing that's been sitting inside your heart, that you've been sitting on for a long time, that you know you want to do, and get the permission, get the courage to actually go off and do the thing. That's what purpose does for you. Purpose demands that you grow into a better version of yourself, because you won't do it just for yourself. If your goals are just purely selfish, if it's just to have money in your bank account or buy a certain car or whatever, the goals just for yourself will not sustain you through the long stretches of bad times that it takes to go off and actually build something meaningful. The thing that sustains you is feeling like this is of greater service to other people than just me. Okay, so everybody has a purpose. The purpose is the thing that gets you going. The purpose is the thing that keeps you motivated. The purpose is the thing that makes you want to do something today. How do you find it? Well, finding it doesn't have to be a difficult process. I wrote about it in Built to Serve. I believe humans are built to serve, and finding your purpose comes from your, I call it your why, and your why comes from your pain. Your purpose comes from your pain. Your purpose is not something that changes next year or the year after or the year after. It's not what's my purpose for this year. That's a decent enough conversation, even figuring that out. If you wanted to go down that path, what's my purpose for the year? It's already more self-awareness than what 99% of the world has, but that's still not your life's purpose. Your purpose is the thing that at 120 years old, you're still obsessed about. My purpose isn't to grow my YouTube channel. I don't know if I'll be doing YouTube at 120 years old. That's too far away for me to think about. My purpose is to try to solve the world's biggest problem, which is that people don't believe in themselves enough. And when I'm 120 years old, that will still be there, and I will still be doing whatever the modern technology is, right? If it's YouTube, amazing. If it's VR, something totally different, I'll be doing that because I want to solve that problem. That's what I wake up every day trying to do. Why? Well, because the purpose comes from my pain, because what I struggled the most with was me. Oh, Nina brought some coffee. We love you, Nina. Look at the steam. Look at the steam.
I bought this guy coffee.
And you bought the homeless guy coffee?
He said it's his birthday. So
It's his birthday? Yeah. Look at Nina. So special. See, she's spreading her purpose. Love it. My purpose came from my pain. I struggled so much as an entrepreneur. I felt the lowest as a human. I felt worthless. I quit on my business partner. I thought it was never going to work out. I just felt incredible pain. I felt lonely, isolated, worthless. And I did quit on my business partner. And then luckily I came back the next day and just decided I can't quit on this yet. And I'm still making all of this content, all of my material. How many years later? Let's see, that was when I was 19, 20. I'm 41 now. So 20 plus years later, still helping, still making content, still going. And it's going to be another 80 years of doing this. Because there are so many people, millions of people who are 19-year-old Evan right now struggling with the same thing. Whatever you struggled with, think about in your life that the deepest, most traumatic experience where you felt worthless as a human being, the most painful emotionally moment that you had to go through. And you barely made it. You know, you didn't triumph your way through it. You struggled, but you made it. And now you're here. And you're still not where you want to be, but you're way further ahead than you used to be, right? You, right now, could go back to you from 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 7 years ago, and give some great advice. That's your purpose. To know that there are millions of people right now who are currently the person you used to be, and they may not make it through. They may not make it through like you did. You had the strength, you had the courage, you had the strategies, you found the way, and you made it through. And they may not. And they need you. They need your voice. They need your hope. They need your inspiration. They need your message. They need you in a way that they won't listen to me. They won't listen to Tom Bilyeu or Tony Robbins. They won't listen because they don't connect to us, but they will connect to you because you are like them. So it doesn't have to take you years to figure out your purpose. You don't have to go to a retreat. You don't have to go meditate on a mountain. You don't have to hire a fancy business coach. You don't have to do any of that. You already know it. You go back to the most painful moment in your life where you felt worthless as a human being, and then just deeply connect to that and feel and know that there are many people out there right now who are that right now, and they have no hope and no guidance and no leadership and no wisdom, and they feel stuck, and they feel alone, they feel afraid, they feel ashamed, they're not reaching out, they're not asking for help, and they're going and they're searching, they're going to YouTube, they're going to YouTube, they're going to YouTube, they're going to YouTube. How many times do I have to say that? They're going to Google, they're going to Twitter, they're going to Facebook, they're searching for help, for answers. You could be the one that shows up. And if you actually felt that on some days you could change the world, and on some days you could change one person's life. If you actually felt that, you will show up completely differently. Finding your purpose and living it is the thing that gives you the motivation, the strength, the confidence to show up one more day and keep going. Good luck. Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there.
I've been feeling this way all week. I can't eat, I can't get no sleep. Man, I think I'm in way too deep. I believe I show all the signs. I spend all day and all night crying, and I think I'm going out of my mind. So it's the worst one you've ever seen. I ain't surprised if you know what I mean. She disappeared along with all of my dreams. No pill is gonna fix me, no way. I'm gonna get her to come on back and kiss me and make it all better. Hey doctor, can you stitch up a broken heart? You know she took it and tore the whole thing apart. So many pieces I don't know where to start. Hey doctor, can you stitch up a broken heart? You know the way I'm feeling now. You could cut out whatever's left right out. Don't think I really need it anyhow. I've been trying to just forget her, so I had a few drinks. Don't need an anesthetic, cause I can't feel a thing. Hey doctor, can you stitch up a broken heart? You know she took it and tore the whole thing apart. So many pieces, I don't know where to start. Hey doctor, can you stitch up a broken heart? Can't you tell there ain't a whole lot of time? So take a look inside, see what you find. Hey doctor, can you stitch up a broken heart? You know she took it and tore the whole thing apart. So many pieces, I don't know where to start. Hey doctor, hey doctor. Hey doctor, can you stitch up a broken heart? You know she took it and tore the whole thing apart. So many pieces, I don't know where to start. Hey doctor, can you stitch up a broken heart? Hey doctor, can you stitch up a broken heart? You know she took it and tore the whole thing apart. So many pieces. to. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Hey guys, today we're introduced to Les Brown in our top 10 rules for success. And Les shares with us a simple idea, but it's everything. And it is this. He tells us that we have two primary choices in life. Number one is we can accept conditions as they are, or number two, we can take responsibility for change, changing ourselves and changing those conditions. So one of them, the first one, accepting conditions as they are, puts us in simply the victim mode. Things are just happening to me. I can't control it. This is the way it is. The second choice, taking responsibility of what we do with what happens to us, puts us in control. And it puts us in the driver's seat of doing something about the things that happen to us. So, two really basic primary choices in life. And that's really the essence of what is going to determine what you become and what you provide for others. Have a great day, everyone.
At the end of the day, if you really wanted to be wealthy, say, how did I do today? Did I make the right choices? Was I ethical? Was I purpose driven? Was I interested in making a difference? Was I fair? Was I tempered? Did I really think before I spoke? What did I remember reading about that book, about that person that did it? How did I do? And if you said, when did I fall from grace? When did I lose it? Okay, I want that opportunity again. I want another shot at that. And I'm going in this way. What would love do in this situation? What would greatness do? And now you evolve your experience, and somehow there's a door, there's an opening, something shifts, something changes. And now here we go, we climb another ladder. And then all of a sudden there's another challenge. And then people who finally arrive at their abundance, they could care less if they're abundant. They're already knowing that they've earned the right for it. So there's sometimes a shortcut in the process if we really learn and we really get it. But the trial and error is so important because not only is the person earning the right to be wealthy, but they're earning the right to live in worthiness, worthy to receive. Like, hey, people come to our work all the time for a lot of reasons, and one of the common reasons is they want to get healthy. Yeah, and because they're dealing with a very serious health condition. And I always say the same thing to them: stop wanting to be healthy. Learn the formula on how to get healthy. Learn the formula on how to heal, and the healing will be the side effect of it. If you're obsessing about why am I not healed, you're still the old person. You're going to become that person every day, right? Turns out that when you sit down and the people that we interview that have had significant changes, when it's no longer about their health, but they are out of the bleachers and they're on the playing field, and they are coming up against the belief. Like one lady said, God, I always thought that this work really worked, that these concepts are the truth, but I never believed it worked for me. And I was in a car accident, I'm in a wheelchair. And then she made the decision that she was going to overcome that belief. Now, it was no longer about her healing. It was about overcoming the belief. But she overcame the belief. And it showed up every day for herself. When you believe in yourself, you believe in possibilities. When you believe in possibilities, you got to believe in yourself. You don't show up for yourself. You don't believe in it. And that's why people don't do the work. I mean, if you believe that your thoughts created reality, you would show up every day and create. And so a lot of people believe in their past more than they believe in their future. A lot of people fall in love or more in love with their past, or romance their past instead of romance their future or love their future. It's that simple. So the initiation process of life is always going to be there. You're always going to be challenged. If you want to be a master, well, then you better learn how to heal someone else. And you're going to fail a lot of times. And if you think that you're a failure, then you'll quit. But if you feel like you just didn't quite ding it yet, and you show up again to just ding it, and you keep evolving your experience and go deeper, how much more can I open my heart? How much more can I surrender into this infinite field? How much more can I become? Can I walk as it with my eyes open? People do meditations, and they have great meditations, me included. And then you get up, you open your eyes, and you're back in the program. And people want to know why they haven't healed. And we have testimonies of people, they're speaking the truth. They said, my MS, my rheumatoid, and my lupus never went away. And I had great meditations. I felt better. And then I realized with my eyes open, I was still that person. And now, next level. They're in the game, they're catching themselves, they're catching how they speak, they're watching how they think. They're not letting their body fall in the same emotional state to put them in the same past experience that the body's believing in. Now, this is the great part. And when a person finally breaks through from the chains, and there's a different consciousness, a freedom that happens, they look back at their past. They want to change one thing in their past because it brought them to that present moment. That's the past no longer existing. That's the freedom. So is it worth the effort? Yeah, it's no longer about healing. It's no longer about abundance. It's about who you're becoming.
Want to be happy? Build a life, not just a business. Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and this channel was created to help you overcome the #1 challenge that is holding you back, a lack of belief in yourself. You watch these videos because you know there's something more inside you too. You've got Michael Jordan level genius at something. So today, let's live your best belief life, and let's learn how we can control our mind. Enjoy.
Question: would you build a website for a major brand with more than 200 million users?
Rule number 2, broadcast positivity with Bruce Lipton.
In our mind, we start to realize that we're concerned, we're afraid, we don't have enough, I'm not safe, I'm not secure. And I say, oh, these thoughts, I was talking about the thoughts in your mind, go in and control your biology, your genetics, your physiology, and your health. And I go, yes, this is really true. I say, well, how can I tell you what your thoughts are in a sense that can I read your thoughts? And I say, yes, you know, I could put wires on your head, and it's called electroencephalograph, and I could read your brain activity. And I go, oh, great, I can see this brain activity. I want to tell you something that's profoundly important. We were programmed to believe that our thoughts are contained in our head. That if I have a thought, it's just for me, not for anybody else. It's inside, and it's working through me. And now I want to tell you about a new technology. It's not electroencephalograph. It's called magnetoencephalograph. I say, what's unique about that? I say, it reads your brain. I say, yeah, but so does EEG. I say, yeah, but EEG, you put the wires on the head, and you get the electrical activity conducted through the skin from the brain, and that's what I'm reading. And I say, what's different about MEG? The probe is out here. And I said, what does that mean? Your thoughts are not contained in your head. Your thoughts are broadcast to the field just like a radio broadcast. I said, well, what if I, as an individual, have a thought that says, let's have peace in the world? And I broadcast out there in the street and I say, let's have peace. And I look around, it's like, where's the peace? I don't see the peace. And here's what the relevance is. Each of us is broadcasting. If you get enough people to have the same thought, that broadcast is amplified. Each of us has a small power, but if you put 1,000 people with the same thought, 10,000, 100,000 people with the same thought, you are broadcasting a most powerful thought, not just in your body, but out in the field. I say, your energy is in the field, the thought is in the field. And you go, well, what does that mean? And then I'll give you this most wonderful quote. I used it the other day in a lecture from Albert Einstein. And the quote is so important. Here's the quote. The field, so a definition, the field is the invisible energy. Right now you're in a field, there's cell phone broadcasts, television, radio broadcasts, all kinds of information coming across, but guess what? Each one of you is a broadcast in that field. The quote, the field is the sole governing agency of the particle. Particle is the material realm. So what was Einstein saying? It's the energy in the field that shapes the physical experience of our lives. And if enough of us collectively have an energy that's coherent and strong, and we broadcast a belief, we change the world. I just want you to recognize, as much as I wanted peace in the world, if not enough people are out there saying, let's have peace in the world, there is no peace. If I want to say, let's have a war, how can you have a war? You have to have enough people convinced that the war is going to benefit them so that their broadcasts say, yes, let's have a war because I and my colleagues, we're all going to have a better result from that. And the reality is this: the only things that change on this planet collectively are when we collectively share thoughts. And yoga, when you're in your postures, when you're in your process, your mind is sharing a thought, not just in your head, but all around you. So the whole idea about this is we have to recognize we are collectively creating reality with our thoughts. And if we want to change reality, it can change instantly. The moment we become coherent, the moment we collectively are on the same platform of thinking. You get enough people to say peace, there will be peace instantly in this world. But we've been programmed by other people to give them the power to tell us what we need. And as Sadhviji has been telling us so importantly, what we need is not what they tell us, what we need is what we know. And I really hope that you understand this, because when you have your thoughts, recognize it's not contained in your head, your thoughts out in the field. And that thought, the field, is the sole governing agency of matter. And therefore, what this world is looking for at this moment is an evolution. It's not an evolution of our biology. Our biology is already evolved. It's an evolution of our consciousness. When we collectively as a population say enough is enough, it will end.
Rule number 3, pay attention with Louise Hay.
Some of you know my little blue book and the fact that I've been doing a lot of work with dis-ease for a long time. And for every part of the body, there is a mental pattern. And for every dis-ease in the body, there is a mental pattern. And when you know what they are, you can begin to change the mental patterns so that you can change the dis-ease. You see, we don't want to be sick. Now, that's a blanket statement. Sometimes people do want to be sick because it's a good way to get out of something. The rest of us know how to say no. If you don't know how to say no, you may have to create an illness in order to say no. Because we've made in society, we've made that a legitimate way of getting out of things. But basically, we do not want to be ill, and yet we need every dis-ease that we have, because it is the body's way of telling us that there is a false idea in consciousness. Something that we're doing, something that we're believing, something that we're saying is not for our highest good. And the body is saying, please, and it's sort of almost like tugging, saying, pay attention. So, when we know what these patterns are, it gives us, again, a choice of whether we wish to do something about it or not.
Rule number 4, keep learning with Ian McGilchrist.
The word belief, its root is love. It's cognate with belieben in German. In Shakespearean English, the word lief meant my dear one, my dear lord, my dear whatever, was one's lief lord, one's lief husband, wife, whatever it was, friend. So it's about, and even the word glauben in German, which is the word for to believe, is related to love, lieben. So initially, belief is not about believing 6 impossible things before breakfast. It's about a disposition of your mind towards the world. And that's why I think it's so important, because we started from attention. And indeed, one of the primal things about all the religious traditions and all the good practices about paying attention to the world, stilling your own monkey mind, as they call it, your own little chatter about it, and opening yourself to the possibility of learning something and becoming just a little bit wiser. Now, if we don't do that, we're lost.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there. Rule number 5, think in processes with Andrew Huberman.
If I came into your service-based business and booked 11,000 appointments on your sales,
hashtag growth mindset is one of the most popular hashtags in social media, but most people don't actually know what it means. And again, this is Carol Dweck's discovery, not mine. It was discovered in a group of kids that were doing math problems or other kinds of puzzles that they knew they couldn't get right, but they enjoyed doing them, and they perform exceedingly well on lots of sorts of tests of that sort when there is the right answer, of course. And so what they do is they're wired for effort. They're wired for the puzzle, not for the solution. And when I say puzzle, I don't mean the noun puzzle. I mean the verb for being puzzled. It, for them, feels good. And so we need to think, if we're talking about the nervous system and we want to make it actionable for high performance, whether or not it's in business or sport or otherwise, we want to think in terms of processes, not events, and verbs, not nouns. So growth mindset as a verb, as an action item. Reward as a verb, not just as you're going to just pat yourself on the back. It's what you internalize. It's a process. That's how the neural circuits that underlie reward get stronger. And the beauty of the brain is that you have this thing of neuroplasticity, which is its ability to change itself throughout the whole lifespan. And the more you practice this, the better you get at it. And it does not mean you're walking around talking delusionally about how great life is when everything is terrible. It means you might even be very stoic. You might be, hopefully you're very rational, but you have the energy to continue to push forward.
Rule number 6, prime your brain with John Asrath.
Every morning when you wake up, you have, let's say it's 10 attention units. If you're using 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 of them on why you can't,
unit? What do you
an
mean?
attention unit is your ability to stay focused. And your ability to stay focused is happening at the conscious and non-conscious level. So if you're processing stuff in the back of your mind of something you're angry at, something you're mad at, something that's stressing you out, or you don't have enough money, or you don't have the right relationships or the contacts or whatever, if you're stressing out about that stuff and that's eating up your attention units, that's like having your computer, using up most of its energy in what's behind that you're not using. Yeah. And we all have a certain amount of attention units every day. And so one of the things that you asked me before that I can come back to on the rituals is using the attention units in a way that is highly, highly productive versus wasting a lot of time. And so my ritual, we started earlier, I just remembered that, is wake up, meditation, exercise, plant-based protein smoothie, followed by reviewing my goals.
Every day you review your goals?
Every day, 5 minutes.
The goals for the day, the month, the year?
Everything. Yeah. I review my overarching goals. Wow. I can do that fairly quickly because that's my longer range goals. I can review the emotions that I want because I'm committed to having those emotions every day and feeling a certain way every day. And then I take a look at from 5 years out, 3 years, 1 year, 90 days, 60 days to today.
Wow.
And so I just review it. And what happened?
On a piece of paper, the iPad,
laminated and on my computer.
Really?
Yeah. And I have it in a booklet also.
Really?
So when I travel, it's really easy.
Do you have it with you?
No. It's a pretty big.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It's like a little manual.
You have to send me a photo so I can see it.
Yeah, I'll send you. It's called My Exceptional Life Blueprint.
I like it.
And so the question many people may ask is why? Why would you do that? Well, because you're having 35 to 50,000 thoughts a day, right? And your brain isn't certain like what's really important and what's not. Yeah. But if you instruct your brain that something is really important, whether it's something you don't want or something you do, it will actually pay attention to you. Right. So by priming my brain early every day, here is what I want you to focus on. Here are the emotions I want you to express through me. Here's the behaviors that I need to take. Then I am on a daily basis setting the course for what I want my brain to focus on. I'm cognitively priming the pump. And if I do it one day, that's great. If I do it 60 days, 100 days, my brain goes, hey, I'm just going to make this freaking automatic because I want to conserve energy. Right? I'm just going to make it automatic. So not only will you focus on it consciously, but I'm just going to make everything happen behind the scenes to help you see, think, and feel things that are congruent with what you're trading your life for and what you want to achieve. So I'm just using the system better.
Rule number 7, untie your mental blocks with Guru Gopal Das.
A farmer had 3 donkeys and was taking them for sale to the market. On the way, he saw a river and desired to take a dip. There was an issue though. He only had 2 ropes and thus would be able to tie only 2 of his 3 donkeys to a tree. How to tie the third one, he wondered. Around there, he saw a wise man and approached him for a rope to tie his third donkey. The man did not have a rope, but had a brilliant suggestion. He told the farmer, tie the 2 donkeys up to a tree with the ropes you have and make sure that the third donkey is watching. Then simply pretend to tie the third one. The farmer followed the man's advice and went for a dip in the river. When he came back, he saw that the donkeys stood exactly at the same spot where he had left them. He thanked the wise man, untied the donkeys, and patted the third one so it starts moving as well. After going a little distance, he turned around and was surprised to see the third donkey still standing at the very same spot. He tried cajoling and talking to the donkey. It did not help. He tried to push the donkey from behind, but it refused to move from the spot. Helpless, the farmer came back to the man who asked him, "Did you untie the third donkey?" "Untie? But I never tied him up," replied the farmer. The man said, "You know that. The donkey doesn't. It still thinks it is tied up." The farmer then went through the imaginary motions of untying the donkey. And guess what? Sure enough, the donkey moved immediately as though released and walked over to join its 2 friends. What's holding us back from moving ahead and reaching our dreams? Is it a lack of resources? Is it a lack of opportunities? Is it a lack of support? Or are we tied up by the imaginary ropes of doubt, fear, hesitation? Yes, we certainly need to work on the external parameters needed for our success. What is even more important is that we untie our mental blocks and expedite our journey towards our goal.
Rule number 8, reflect with Nick Kyomahavong.
Take the time each day to check your intention and what you're doing. Is it actually pure? Do you have hidden agendas? You say one thing, you do something else, but again, does it match? And this is one of the beautiful things for me in monkhood, because this is what we train. Every single day, we need to take time to be alone. We need to take time to reflect and make sure we're congruent. What we think about, what we speak, what we talk about, and then also our actions. Is it pure? So for me, every night, every day, I try to make sure what you're doing, is it is your intention pure? And in this moment, I can say, for me, it is. It is because there's a lot of people suffering. My whole life, I always felt that I didn't fit in. I didn't belong. Why did I do so many different things? Being born in Laos, moving at a young age to California at the age of 5, selling real estate, then doing hip hop, then working as a therapist, then running businesses, then becoming a monk. And my whole life, I couldn't quite fit in. And I didn't understand why did I have to go through all these experiences. But for the first time for me, it just made sense. Because before, nothing made sense. But now, through the different types of experiences, the variety of experiences, both personally, both professionally, then it gives me an opportunity when I do my work, now I'm in the monastery, I can bring this wisdom out and language in a way, like I said, that people can actually hear it, that they can interpret it and use it. Otherwise, it's pointless. It's so deep, but we don't get it, and I don't know how to use it. So it doesn't make sense. And I think I have the cultural context, and out of, like I said, out of gratitude for my own experience and having peace. It took a very long time to get to this point. I just want to share these kind of things because there's someone out there who is suffering. And I just think if it can decrease someone's amount of suffering, someone's amount of trying to find answers, then here it is. I hope it helps you. So with that being said, just tying in the things that we learned from the monastery of just keep your eyes on your own bowl. Just keep looking at yourself, looking to make sure that your intentions are pure. And if it is genuinely pure, I say don't worry about anything. Just close your eyes, put your head, rest your head on your own pillow. Sleep in a sea of merit, smile, and continue the next day.
Rule number 9, consume good content with Dr. Daniel Ellman.
Some people call CNN the crisis news network because what they're doing is they're doing headlines to make you pay attention, which is not good for you. It is wearing out your adrenal glands. They produce stress hormones. Pornography is the same way. Actually, studies have shown it shrinks your frontal lobes. What you bring in helps determine how your brain works. And so if you're watching the same sort of television shows all the time and you're not learning anything new, or you're on the internet doing the same things, that's not good for your brain. The more you use it, the more you can use it.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is be in charge with Mel Robbins.
Drive. That's this puppy right here. This is what you want. This is your prefrontal cortex. Drive is the mode where you're in charge of your thoughts, okay? It's where you are fully awake, you are present, and you are driving your thoughts and actions. When you're doing that, your prefrontal cortex is active. The prefrontal cortex is the part of the brain that you need in order to learn new behavior, in order to do something difficult, in order to do something uncertain, in order to do strategic thinking. So I'm going to give you an example. So I'm a righty. If I were to try to write with my left hand, Lewis is going to torture me and tie my hand behind my back and make me do this, I could do it. It would look like I was writing with my foot. And if Lewis came up to me and said, "Hey, Mel, you want some bulletproof coffee?" I'd be like, "Lewis, I'm trying to concentrate. I can't do this." My prefrontal cortex would be el fuego because it is firing on all cylinders to communicate to my hand new behavior. So the thing that's cool about that is that you can use a simple trick. The moment you feel yourself hesitate, the moment you've got one of those moments where you know that you need to, this is that moment that Lewis talks to you about where you got to step outside of your comfort zone and you've got to lean into your passion and you've got to really take some risks and you got to feel the fear and you got to do it anyway. That's the moment where you just woke up and now you got a decision to make. Are you going to drift back into the habits, or are you going to awaken your prefrontal cortex and drive forward and focus and do something new?
Sigue el tutorial. Let me see you do it. Let me see you. Pop it, drop it, lock it. 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 Shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it. Ay, fuego en la pista.
Morning, guys. I want to share with you a funny story. This is from my younger daughter. Not too long ago, we were talking about how difficult and challenging it can be to control our minds and to control the power of our minds. And we talk about it quite often. We try to use examples from our own life. And it was funny because, like I said before, kids are amazing. They're going to tell you like it is. They're not going to sugarcoat things. And I remember my younger daughter saying, in terms of controlling her mind, that it's annoying. And when I heard that, I was laughing because when I think about it, yeah, it is very annoying. It's very annoying when you know the way you should respond and you don't. So here's my younger daughter just reminding us that we got to laugh that as we're on this process, because we're going to make so many mistakes. Yeah, it's going to feel annoying that we can't control our minds to be the most positive people we can be for ourselves and others, but that's okay. We're all in it together. Have a great day.
Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new episode of the Top 10 Rules to Success. Today, we'll learn from Bruce Lipton on how to rewire your subconsciousness, get rid of your fear, and achieve real and lasting change. Enjoy.
The problem with the concept of power, the power of positive thinking, is people just think, oh, well, if I just have positive thoughts, then my life should be affected. And this is why positive thinking has a real bad rap in the public. And the reason is this. Having a positive thought does not in any way necessitate that those positive thoughts actually manifest themselves. And there's a piece that was left out. And if you don't understand the piece, then you're shouting into the wind with your positive thoughts. Nothing's going to happen. And the fact is this. When you're having positive thoughts, you're using your mind. The new biology reveals that the invisible forces that collectively we refer to as mind, that these form a field which shape biology. Well, here's what's important. Yes, the mind influences biology, but there are two parts to the mind that are completely different than one another, yet they work together. We confuse them, we tie them together, and yet they represent two entities working in two different fashions. There's the conscious mind and what is called the subconscious mind. Now, here's what it's very important. People have to know this, okay? And here's what it is. The conscious mind is our creative mind that is connected to our personal identity and our spiritual selves. That makes us all unique. Each of us has our own personal conscious mind. But what becomes very significant is this, is the subconscious mind is equivalent to a tape player. It's exactly what it is. It records experiences and then plays them back. And so now let's take a look and say, well, wait, there's a thinking mind, and then there's a tape player mind. And what's different about them is very profound. So let's talk about two fundamental differences first. The tape player, the subconscious mind, as an information processor, as the equivalent of a computer, is 1,000,000 times more powerful an information processor than is the conscious mind. So when you look at the power between the conscious and subconscious is 1,000,000 times more powerful. Number two, on a day-by-day basis, the subconscious mind runs our biology about 95 to 99% of the time. So while you're having all these wonderful thoughts, that's not the conscious mind's not running the show. It's a subconscious mind. Then comes the issue is, well, the subconscious mind got programs in it. Yes. And the subconscious mind is not evil or good. The subconscious mind is a tape player. As much as you can say, okay, here's a tape player. It's good or bad. The tape player's not good or bad. The programs can be good, and the programs can be bad. So blaming the subconscious mind as a negative thing that's the first mistake. It's a tape player. The programs that we got, that's the source of the problems that most of us face. And these programs could limit our abilities and take away our powers, which essentially they do. Now, the relevance about positive thinking is this. Positive thinking is a creative thought that comes from the conscious mind. Okay, so I sit here and I'm going to have all these wonderful thoughts. I'm going to close my eyes and visualize all these wonderful things. Now stop and go back to the mechanical character of it. I'm having these thoughts with a little tiny processor called the conscious mind, and I'm competing with the programs that are in the subconscious mind. So if I have a thought for being healthy or being in a good relationship, and I'm doing positive thinking, and at the same time, I have acquired programs in my development that said, you're not as healthy as you think you are, and you're not that good a person to have those kind of relationships. Then look, I'm now pitting my positive thoughts against my programs, and they're opposite. But this one works on a little tiny processor, and this processor is 1,000,000 times more powerful. So right away, it's like, who's going to win in that challenge? The answer, of course, the subconscious is going to win, okay? But here comes the other part. while I can try to maintain positive thoughts in my life using my conscious mind, this conscious mind only operates less than 5% of the day. That says 95% or more of the day, I'm operating from the other belief system. The point is, do the math. How powerful are positive thoughts? And the answer is, unless the subconscious has the same programs and agreement as the conscious mind, power of positive thinking will not work. It will not work because you're competing against a much more powerful processor.
Rule number 2, protect the environment.
You can easily train yourself to listen faster.
When I finally started to realize a very simple truth, and it was like an old spiritual word, but I now understand the biological connotation of it, that we were made in the image of the environment. And that, so we are complements to the environment. And yet what we have done is, without being aware that our biology is dependent on the environment, that we have systematically undermined, destroyed Mother Nature and Gaia. And in the process, now we're finding we are threatened with our own extinction. And the fact is, well, we didn't know what we were doing. But the question is, will Gaia allow us to come back? And the answer is absolutely. Because just as much as a person can come back from the edge of death with something called a spontaneous remission, even though science has already recognized we are facing our extinction, so we could say that we're a terminal patient, humanity is a terminal patient, the concept of changing our belief system will allow the garden to come right back to fullness again. So we are in a learning stage to remove ourselves from the beliefs of our current civilization, which undermine not just the humans, but the environment that we're in. And the problem is, we were created as a complement to a certain environment. Since we are destroying that environment, then we are no longer complements to an environment. Then we don't fit by definition. And that is why the scientists recognize we are facing our extinction. So I like to apologize to nature, saying, geez, I'm really sorry. We didn't get it, but we're learning. And more people, especially the younger people, very importantly, are recognizing you cannot destroy this environment and survive. And that we must pull together and honor Gaia, the mother of us all. Because by returning our love back to Gaia, Gaia will give us back the love and the life that we can have on this planet.
Rule number 3, don't give away your power.
I have a spiritual part, and I have this physical part. And I asked a simple question. I said, why have a body? Why not just be the spirit? And then, this is when I found out I had Jewish comedian cells. I go, what's that? I asked a question of myself, why have a body? Why not just be a spirit? And 50 trillion cells in my body welled up with an answer. And I said, the answer, what was I said? I asked a question. The answer came back in the form of a question. That's where the Jewish comedian guy came in. I asked, why have both a spirit and a body? And the cells answered with this, quote, Bruce, if you're just a spirit, what does chocolate taste like? And all of a sudden I said, oh my God, that was the most profound thing in the entire world. I said, why? Because this is like a virtual reality suit. I can see with these eyes. I could smell, I can taste, I can hear. And I go, so why is it relevant? Well, as I said, the question came out, if you're spirit only, and Sadhviji and I are in the spirit world, and we're saying love is such a beautiful thing, it's the harmony and the connection and everything. I said, yeah, but what does love feel like? You go, as a spirit, how the heck do I know what's, but I said, oh, you have to have the chemistry of the body and a nervous system that translates the chemistry into sensation. Sensation is not chemistry, it's electromagnetic vibration. It's a broadcast. And I say, so why is it relevant? So we had one little part. I go, what? We think our thoughts are in our head. And so we put wires on our head called the electroencephalograph. And I could read your brain activity. I go, yeah, inside your head, you got all this consciousness going on. And then I go, there's a new technology, it reads brain activity as well. It's not electroencephalograph, EEG. It's called magnetoencephalograph, MEG. And I go, so what's the difference? They both read consciousness. I go, yeah, and what's the difference? Magnetoencephalograph, the probe is out here. It doesn't even touch your head. Stop. I say, why? You're reading my thoughts out here? And all of a sudden it's like, my thoughts are not contained in my head? No, they're broadcast back to the field. I go, I can read your thoughts from out here. So whatever you're thinking, positive or negative, or I can do this, I can't do that. So it's not staying in here. It's going out into the world and the universe around us. And then I say, so what's the relevance? There's something called resonance. When two things are in vibration, if one vibrates, the other one will vibrate. Okay. And if they're not in harmony, one vibrates and the other doesn't do anything. So I say, so what does it mean? Oh my God, this is so changed life stuff. I go, my thoughts are vibration that go out into the energy field, which is quantum physics. I go, so what? I say, my thought will only vibrate and resonate with something that matches the thought. If I send out a thought of love, only elements that are in love, that vibrate in love, will respond to my thought because we're in harmony, we're in resonance. If I send out a thought of fear, negative and scared, and I can't do this and I'm afraid, I said, what do you think is going to vibrate? I said, love is not going to vibrate. Only things that you would be afraid of, things you would be, have fear over, they'll vibrate. And I say, so put it all together. Oh my God, we're creators. And we come in to this body to create. And that what we create and what we experience is not kept in us. Our mind translates it into electromagnetic vibrations that go back to the field. And that integrates with our spiritual vibration because they're the two in resonance. I'm in resonance with the spirit, and the spirit is in resonance with the body. Why? We're using the same vibration. So our lives make a difference that we live here. And I say, what? First of all, we're creators. We're very powerful. I go, until a creator is programmed not to be powerful. And then that creator, by programming, will say, okay, I'm not powerful, and give up our power. And we have been systematically programmed to question who and what we are, when the fact is we came here as creators. And I go, why did we come here for the creation? And then I go, because we get a feedback that goes back to the source that says, what do you want? And you come here and try and create it. And when you find that love, and when you find that harmony, you start to realize you're glowing. When you're glowing, your energy vibration of love is going back to the universe to resonate with you and make you a stronger love vibration.
Rule number 4, reprogram your healing ability.
Hey, it's Matt here. And if you've got a couple of minutes, I'd love to share with you why, in my opinion, starting your own.
When we were in that 0 to 6 year period, every time we got sick, we were told we had to go to the doctor to get healed. That's an experiential program. So what does my subconscious mind learn from this experience? Every time I'm sick, I have to go to the doctor. Why? Apparently, it's a step before you get healed. So we build that into the program, and then which is interesting is that we have an innate ability to heal ourselves. That's what the placebo effect is all about. But when we put in a program that says, I have to go to the doctor before I get healed, then what you do is actually stall your own ability to heal yourself until you go to the doctor. And the joke, many people get well on the way to the doctor without having any treatment. And the reason is, they already had the ability to get well, but the program step said, until you do this next step, then the healing doesn't start. So we deprogram our ability to heal ourselves.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there. Rule number 5, achieve real change.
How many people go through the process, find it doesn't work, and then repeat the process and it doesn't work again? It's like, oh yeah, I've been married 4 times, somebody was saying. It's like, God, they repeated the same error already 3 times with the ideas. Do you think by the 4th time maybe you could learn that whatever pattern you played 3 times in a row will probably play itself again until you change, not your partner? You keep bringing in the same partner with different colored hair and a different name, but you brought that person in and you play the same game over again. The question is, can you learn? The answer is you can, but do many people learn? The answer is no, because they keep thinking that it's just my fate. You know, that's just the way life is.
But their
for me.
subconscious still remains unconscious.
That's the problem.
The key,
Until you change the subconscious program, the subconscious is a habitual mind. It's a habit.
Yeah.
Until you change the habit, you will replay the habit. That's why it's called a habit. So you keep replaying the same program. It's all, you keep, it's like a definition of insanity is the idea of keep doing the same thing and expect something different to happen. The fact is, no, that's insane. Why? You keep doing the same thing, you're going to get the same thing. And if the habit mind is giving us the story, then the answer says, well, how do I change it? And the answer is change the subconscious mind, because that's where the habits are that we got from other people. Again, this is most important. The fundamental habits in subconscious mind came from other people, and that's why they rarely match what you want in your conscious mind, which is you, and you create those programs, and yet the fundamental programs of subconscious were downloaded during that first 6 years of our development.
Rule number 6, be happy.
This is a truth, but if you really understand this truth, you have to change the way you are living. Because you're living by some materialistic, Darwinian, Newtonian, give me more matter, I'll be happier. And it's like, that has nothing to do with that at all. Because happiness is not an object. And so what's a revolution? Well, we've been programmed on materialism. Give me more matter. And it's like, no, because what do you get? I love it because we did Psyche training session, and there was this professional wrestler, and his persona in the ring is like a bad guy. So he has to dress up and, and do the acting and the wrestling. He's like, I'm the bad guy. And everybody would boo him. That was his job, to be booed, And he came to Psyche because he was really depressed by it. Why? Because his job is to be hated by people. It's like, well, that's not a great job. But so we said, well, what are you looking for? He said, well, if I could maybe be an announcer for this, I could be an announcer. And then he said, okay, and you get to be an announcer, and what is that? What's that good for? Well, if I get to be an announcer, then maybe a network will pick me up and then I could be a sportscaster. Oh yeah, and then what? He said, well, then I'll have some more money. And then what? So then I'm
buy more things.
Buy more things. That was it. Then I could buy some more, whatever he said. And then, and finally, we kept pushing to the last one. It was like, and what do you get from getting this? And finally, after a litany, I'll be happy.
Happiness.
I'll be happy. So I remember Rob and I looked at him, and Rob says, well, you could be happy from day one. You didn't need to do any of this stuff to be happy.
Because even if he actually did do all of those things, even if you simply could say, well, that was a circuitous route, but at the end it did bring happiness, that would be different. But we know you go through this whole circuitous route,
don't pick it
and
up.
at the end you're still not happy.
No, that's what the rich people are. They got all this money, but they're not happy. And it's like, yeah, well, you could buy anything you want. It's like, yeah, but at some point buying is not happy. I was happy to have it. And I said, well, happy didn't have to be it. Happy could be happy. But people have been programmed to conform to a machine that requires them A, to work, and B, consume. Work and consume, work and consume. And that will make this machine work like this.
Rule number 7, get rid of fear.
We came here to create. We came here to experience love. We have a sensory system. If it's not love, it takes us away from our creation. We came here to have the joy of what? Heaven on earth. And all of a sudden I say, earth is heaven. Earth is where you came to create. And then if you get misdirected in your creation, you can then create the world that we have. a world that doesn't look that good to me, you know. And I go, so why is this all relevant? Is because we are truly powerful creators, and we have given up the belief that we have any power at all. I'm afraid of this, I'm afraid of that. And I'm going, well, there you go. Fear means close down. Growth is open. They're opposite. Growth is to be open and in love. Fear is to close down in protection. We cannot survive by closing down. Anything that closes down will die. And so we have to, it's the fear. And then I say, so what about Bruce? Because you might ask me that question. What stopped the fear in my life was I owned my spirituality as a scientific reality. I didn't go through a devotional phase, not spiritual, and then I had to learn a lot of stuff, and then I became spiritual. I was a biologist and saw I am not in here. I am a broadcast. And that moment of, I cannot die. You cannot die. You're not in there, but you have to not, you know, like have a devotion to spirituality. It's either you believe spirituality or you don't believe it. And for me, it wasn't a devotion. It was a scientific mechanism. And the relevance was the moment I saw that, my life just like, boom. And what happened? I said, I lost fear. And if you're not in fear, no one can control you, because fear is what makes you give up the power to someone else.
Rule number 8, align with spiritual reality.
Something you look at in spontaneous evolution too is how science and spirituality are coming together. They used to be very separate. There used to be
absolutely.
The scientific world, which is very factual driven, and that's that, and you couldn't change it. And spirituality was trying to open up things, but they really are meeting now, aren't they?
Yeah, it was interesting because the spiritual world of religion was talking about the invisible moving forces that shape the physical reality, and we call them spirit. And then science only came into existence because it made a detente with the church. In the very early days of science, it said, look, we won't tread on your invisible spiritual domain. We will just study the physical world. And when Newton was able to predict the movements of the planet by just looking at the physical features, then scientists got the ideas, well, if you can understand how the universe operates by just studying the material world, we don't need that invisible stuff. But in 1925, Newtonian physics was incorporated, subsumed by a bigger physics called quantum physics. And quantum physics emphasizes the universe is made out of energy, it's not made out of matter. And then I say, well, what does the quantum physicists call this energy that the universe is made out of? And I say, well, they call it the field. I say, what's the definition of the field? I love this. Invisible moving forces that influence the physical world. I go, my goodness, that's the same definition as spiritual that's used for spirit. I go, yes, quantum physics emphasizing the invisible field as primary to the physical world is essentially reiterating the statement of the spiritual people who talked about the invisible forces shaping our physical existence. And so, by definition, science, the new science of quantum physics, is bringing us back into alignment with the spiritual reality. Hopefully, the dogmatic beliefs of the church, which had talked about these wonderful terms but didn't allow us to live there, and science, which is still stuck in its material plane, will both divest themselves of their dogma and allow us to come together and recognize that we're all part of that invisible field, that we don't even live in our own bodies, if you understand the nature of how the cell works, that we are part of the field being downloaded into our body, that we're all, by definition, the field, or we're all spiritual, same definition. And if we recognize this, the unity of it, and that you cannot be taken out of the field and you cannot be, in a sense, punished by the field, you are the field, then maybe the beliefs, those very restrictive beliefs from both science and from the dogmatic religion will disappear, because the people owning their own spirituality, owning their own responsibility, and not saying, oh, it's spirits that did this or things, other factors, that we are the creators, will generate a new world. Because what I firmly believe is very simple. Go out and talk to the average person anywhere in the world and say, if you could create a world, what would you like? Well, I'd like a world where there's peace and harmony, and I'd like some food and a job. And I go, isn't it amazing how everywhere you go in the world, virtually the entire population has the same belief? And I go, then how come we don't have any answers? Because the leadership isn't exercising that belief. So I trust the people to take over the leadership of this world, and that the structure that is actually in a state of collapse. When it collapses, this will be our opportunity to evolve from the very destructive Darwinian perception of a world into a more holistic holism that says we're all part of the same system, we're all cells in the same body, and when we work together, we will create magic on this earth like nothing has ever been seen before. So I'm very optimistic about that.
Rule number 9, identify the real problem.
How do you rewire your brain?
Well, as we just said, the first thing you have to do is say, what the heck are my programs? You don't have to fix a program if it works. The only one you want to fix is the one that doesn't work. So then you say, well, what are the programs? And I can already tell you, the things that don't work in your life that you desire to have in your life, and you are creating an effort and a struggle and a lot of work to make it happen, the reason why it's not working is because somewhere in the program, it doesn't support that conclusion. So this program does not allow you to have this. So the thing is, well, as long as I have this program, I'm never going to get this. And even if I get it, it's going to disappear if I, as soon as I let go of the control, it's going to disappear because the subconscious take it away. So the first thing is identify, well, where are you having trouble? And I say, whatever that destination is, that the thing you were looking for, whether it was a job, health, relationship, whatever, if that's where you're having a trouble, recognize this. The program is counter to that. It's the opposite. The program is the opposite. That's why this can't stay here, because this is going to 95% of the day create a different program, not the one you wanted. So I say, so if I have a troubled relationship, then basically my program for a relationship doesn't work very well. In my case, that was true. For 50 years, I was operating from the program of relationship that I downloaded from my parents, who had a really sucky relationship. It was so bad. And I was just manifesting it unconsciously until I started to change. Once I changed, now I have heaven on earth.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is have fun.
I'm mad as heck, but I will take it anymore.
Joby.